New Balance and ALD for the second year in a row are releasing 3 New Balance shoes that are going to deliver 6 to 7 months from now. So there's 3 different colorways, a blue, a red, and a white pair, all retailing $150 plus shipping. Depending on where you live, shipping can be anywhere from around 10 to 20 bucks. And this might not seem like a big deal, like boohoo, there's a sneaker pre-order, but let me tell you why it's such a big deal. Because more and more brands are going to continue to do this. Plus, it's actually a pretty decent way to resell. The last 2 pre-orders that I did, which were the ALDs last year, I bought both colorways. Both were retail again at $150. I sold them both over $300, so I made good money on both those pairs. And then another pair that I sold was one that I'll show you in just one sec. These RTF KT Dunks, the black pair. In fact, I ordered the white ones as well. I ordered 2 of the black ones, they already came in. The white ones still haven't shipped out yet for Nike, and I ordered these back last year November. It's now almost August. So same story on these, but this was also a good flip. These retailed $222, and resell on these is anywhere from $500 to $1,000 depending on the size. But anyways, let me tell you why brands actually love doing pre-orders. Number 1, the customer puts up all the money up front. So because the customer puts all the money up front, the brand doesn't really have any risk. They do everything made to order, meaning if they have 1,000 orders, they only make 1,000 orders. This is really useful because brands like Nike, for example, will pre-order, 1.8 million Jordan 4s, for example, and if that shoe just isn't hot or it's a down week or something happens with the economy, well, they're kind of out of luck because they have to pre-order this, which could cost them potentially millions and millions and millions. In fact, it does cost them millions and millions and millions to produce that, and it's a pretty big risk. Versus on the other side of things, yes, not as many customers are going to order because not as many customers are going to want to put $150 to $200 up front to wait for a shoe that long. But you have a guaranteed sale, so you can't really mess it up. On top of that, these brands make it so there's absolutely no refunds. But the buyers should love that because, again, they guarantee to get their size. They guarantee to get the colorway that they want. So they can be really specific, which is cool because there's kind of a duality there, which is like, hey, the hype shoes that are really hard to get, let's say like a Travis Scott, you might not be able to get what you want, and oftentimes you aren't able to get what you want. Versus like, hey, doing a pre-order, you are able to get what you want, but you have to pay, months in advance. In my opinion, it's kind of like a vacation package, right? If you want to get the best deal, you usually have to buy it anywhere from 3 to 6 months in the future. So that's the way I see it. This is kind of like a vacation package with shoes, which makes sense. And that's why brands can do that. They can outsell it, which means they can do it more in bulk, and it's very little risk for these brands. Let's talk business. The brand gets all the money up front. So let's say New Balance sells 100,000 total, right? 30,000-ish of each. That would be a $15 million basically interest-free loan because you have to pay this money up front. So New Balance gets $15 million, right? It might only cost $5 million to manufacture these shoes, which newsflash, it probably does, right? So they get to deploy that capital, and then they have $10 million, which is pure profit already up front. They handled all their expenses, all their fulfillment, which means they can go take that money, go develop more shoes, just straight invest it. They can do whatever they want with it, and it's interest-free. And then again, to reiterate, the customer gets exactly what they wanted, so there's really no complaining that the customer can make because they got the size that they wanted, they had an idea of when it's going to come in, and the benefit of it is if New Balance fulfills on this order even quicker, then no customer can really complain. They're happy about it. So now you might be wondering about last year's shoes. If they were pre-orders and you could order really as many as you wanted, why were they reselling for nearly double? Like I mentioned, that's the thing with pre-orders. It cuts out a lot of the instant buyers. Some people can't put the money up front, $150, to pay that off and just wait. Right? They don't have that type of money, or they just don't want to wait that long. And because of that, right, the people that do get the advantage. So not as many pairs are made that people actually want. And again, you'll sell more, which is kind of a downside for New Balance as well and all these other brands that do pre-orders, because if you do a pre-order, you're not going to sell as many as you possibly can. It's just not going to be the case because not everybody's going to want to wait. So there's less sales you're going to get, but there's way less risk. So it's the middle ground. The other cool thing about pre-orders is that it makes the stock be very, very low. For the Dunks I just showed you guys for reference, there was only 11,000 or so mini pairs of those. For reference, if you look at the Trophy Room Jordan 1s, there was 12,000 pairs of those. And those are reselling for almost $2,000 at one point. So just by looking at those being considered rare, these are actually rarer technically because there's less pairs. Another reason these are always going to resell is because it's a brand like New Balance and ALD, which has made awesome collabs, really great quality. They always perform on it. And people are going to want these shoes. And they might not even notice. So some people might not even see the pre-order because it's not super heavily marketed, because it's just hard to sell early and brands know this. So if you are someone that sees this shoe, 6 months from now when it actually drops and you want it, you're probably going to have to pay the price. Well, you're definitely going to have to pay resale because there's no way you can get it for retail. And it's not just New Balance. Like I mentioned, Nike's doing this. I guarantee you Adidas is going to do this in some drops, and more brands are going to do this because it's way less risk with inventory, and they're at least going to space it out. So they're going to continue to do regular releases with Air Forces and Dunks and 550 New Balances, just regular shoes that they sell every day. But with these collabs, I really think in the marketing and the brand side of things, like they can do a lot further out pre-orders, and it's very, very smart. Now, if you're someone like me who's been reselling for years, I've done over $2 million in sales, so I have a lot of capital that I could deploy with this. It does make sense for higher level resellers, guys who are doing over 6 figures a year, to buy a bunch of these. I think it would be a good play if you were to buy, let's say, 50 of these and put up all that money up front. Now it's a lot of money. That would be 7,500 bucks if you just did that. And again, that is kind of a lot of trust to put up front. But that hold, I mean, from my last flip that I did on this, you'd be able to double it. So I think, in my opinion, you'd be able to at least sell these for $200 when they drop. And with that being said, if you're making, let's say, even $25 of fees after shipping and everything, it would probably still be worth it if you're someone who has a bunch of capital. Now, if you're someone who's just starting out and you got, let's say, $500, I probably wouldn't buy these, because you can do way more flips of that $150 over the span of 6 months than just buying one and getting one flip in 6 months. It's the same reason I don't recommend holding shoes. This is a different version of holding shoes. Because if you hold shoes, let's say you spend $200 on a shoe, right? You have to wait 6 months to potentially flip that for maybe a $20 profit, right? And it makes sense if you can do it over 100 times, sure. But if you're someone who's starting out brand new, instead take that $200, go buy 5 pairs of bricks with it like I teach in my videos, and you'll make $20 off each of those in less than 2 weeks. And that doesn't take you 6 months. So you make 5 times as much, and in basically 12 times has less time. And again, with these pre-orders, it's not necessarily an investment. You really don't know what's gonna happen with these shoes. The reason I bought those ALDs last time is, first off, I thought they were really sick, and I make content on stuff, so I wanted to make a video on it too. I did think they were gonna resell as well, but that's not why I was buying them. Now, when I bought them and I saw them in hand, and it was time for me to let them go, obviously I made a good profit on it. But that was not the entire reason that I bought this, which is why I didn't buy 1,000 pairs. Because if I knew they were gonna do that, obviously I'd buy as many as possible. Just keep in mind, this is a risky way to resell, because you're putting your money all the way up front, so you can't use that capital anywhere else for at least 6 months. What if it gets delayed? Could be longer. And then what happens when it gets delivered and everyone's over that shoe? They don't really want it. So, the risk of it is you wait 6 months with your capital tied up. You can't do anything else. You could lose money still. You could gain money for sure, but you really have no idea. So you got to really know what you're doing before you make a purchase like this. So in my opinion, pre-orders are just going to become more and more popular as time comes by. And I would love to see brands be able to get that time down to 2 to 3 months. I really think Nike can do it because they have the manufacturing power. And that would be cool. I think a lot more people would buy it knowing that they can get their shoe in 2 months. But even then, with the Yeezy stuff that dropped earlier this year, people bought those and it took like 2 months to fulfill, and people weren't happy. They were saying this is taking forever. A lot of people don't have patience for that stuff. So, we'll see how it goes. But just realize, again, pre-orders are going to continue to happen, and it's something that you should, be in the know of. So I'm interested. Let me know in the comments below if you've ever pre-ordered a sneaker or if you would do it in the future. Again, buying from these brands, you got a guaranteed pair coming in because these brands are really trusted, obviously, and you can get your size, you can get the colorway you want. So just let me know. By the way, if I had to buy a New Balance, one of the ones that are dropping, I'm gonna throw it on the screen right now, I'd buy like the white and gray ones. This one's really clean. Reminds me of kind of a mint colorway, and I don't know, this is just kind of my favorite type of shoes that are like this. Green's my favorite color, so that'd be the one person that I'd buy, but I think all 3 colorways are good. I think this one's gonna resell for the most, just my opinion. So anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. Hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.